Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friday's Mobile Lifestyle Recap. Today we talk about mobile gaming, and I know it has been quite debated as a theme for certainly for families, for kids, for teens, for all of us perhaps wasting time. So we're going to talk about both, benefits and also some of the warnings that we all need to have about not just too much screen and gaming time, but also things like in-app purchases and other pitfalls of potentially gaming too much. But I am thrilled to have, you haven't been on for a long time, Robin Wright. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? I'm glad to be back on. Hi, everybody.
You look great with that tiger top.
I like my animal prints.
Yes, you look ferocious, actually. Yes, so we're going to, I know that Marty and Misty are such great producers of our recaps, and they have included links and such for you to, you don't have to write this down, we just want to give you some of the quick summaries and learnings of today's chat, and I know you had it chock full of great tips, right, Robin?
I always try to have lots of tips and bookmarks and all sorts of fun things for you guys during the chats. That's my goal.
Yeah, I have to find a technology subject that you don't have great tips and resources for. And so I love that you can help us sort of recap the chat today because there was a lot of information. And before I forget, we are going to give away some of my favorite new devices. This is this beautiful Motorola battery pack, and it has this gorgeous finish. It feels like a corduroy type finish, and it will charge your phone twice over, as well as any other devices that you might need. So we're going to give some of these away on today's chat. Just please tell us, ask us some good questions, or any questions. There's not good or bad questions, just any questions you might have. We're going to follow the stream, and we're going to answer them right on the spot. So, Robin, tell me a little bit about your favorite part of mobile gaming, just from a, high perspective view.
My view of it is I love to take breaks from my work when I game for gaming, and that so I am in front of the computer a lot of the times during the day, and you think sometimes I want away from that, and I do. I take screen breaks for my eyeballs, but a lot of times I just need that different way of thinking that games provide me from my work. And so I will take a quick 5-10 minute break and play some trivia crack, words with friends, maybe a puzzle game or something. And it really just kind of, washes out the rest of the junk that kind of gets in my brain. And it kind of refreshes me and that. And I also play other times of the day, but I really like it for breaks during the day when I'm working, actually.
Yeah, breaks are really great, I think, to take a little gaming. I still go to my default doodle jump. It's so infuriating. I can't get quite past a certain point. But yeah, sometimes it's just a really good way to clear your mind. I know Amber Cheras has a question. What are your best tips for limiting children's game time on phones, tablets, or computers? And that's a really sort of often asked question, in the sense that no matter what screen your child's looking at, depending on his or her age, yeah, you really just want to make sure there's a good balance of learning time. Most kids are now using their screens to learn, and they use it for school oftentimes. So depending on his or her age, I would always try to find some good balance. And so it's okay to have, a pre-agreed on how you're going to use that particular screen, particularly if it's a tablet, right? So you can say you're going to have, an hour of gaming a day, so they can pick whatever games they want to play. But always try to also encourage them to find some educational games. So that would kind of be my answer. Robin, what's your perspective on that?
I would say that it's really important to establish those guidelines, whatever they are for you and your family and your child, early on. I know my nephew Colby, he's a toddler, and he, his parents noticed that when if they let him kind of go a little bit too long, he gets cranky and stuff, you know, with the games and stuff. So they have a firm time limit that they use right now, and you have to really be serious about, okay, that's it, the game's over right now, whatever it is, because as they get older, they're going to listen to you less and less. This was a lesson that I wish I would have known when my son was younger, and he had a lot more screen time than I wish he would have. We did a lot of great things with it, but
Yeah.
look back, you know, hindsight's 20/20. But I would say really establish those guidelines that you want for your children early on, and be firm. If they whine and cry that you've taken the tablet or phone away, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. They'll get over it. Be strong. Be a parent first. That's always my thing.
Yeah. There's a question on from Corey, Time to Travel, Corey Hope. How can I control to see what my child's doing on the phone? And there's a, you know, that's also something that I think all parents, we kind of get, you know, really tempted to want to know what's on the phone. I would say look at his or her behavior. You know, if he's doing well in school and you know, he's a well-adjusted kid and has good friends, and there's no reason to really want to look what's on the phone all the time. And depending on his age, however, if you're paying for the phone and your first priority is still to keep him safe, then you have every reason to take a look at what apps he's using, you know, what games he's playing. So find a good balance there. You know, if they're in their teen years, you want to give them a little bit of responsibility, and always remember that the child who feels trusted and respected is going to make very good decisions. So that's always my go-to line for we as parents. And believe me, I have a teen. I'm sometimes really interested to see, you know, what all the exchange might be about. But it's worth respecting the privacy unless you have a good reason to worry about due to behavioral reasons or doing poorly in school. Let's talk a little bit about the benefits of gaming as far as educational benefits. So you listed a couple on the chat. Give me your top 5.
Some of them were preschoolers are shown to have better motor skills when they're playing educational games. It is really great for people who have illness that causes them pain, either chronic pain or short-term pain. It helps distract people from the pain, kind of like Lamaze would in childbirth. And it's also great for reducing stress and depression, believe it or not, that it helps people, and it helps you have empathy for other people, which I didn't mention during the chat, but that you see characters when you see them that they're injured in a game or something like that, even if it's a cartoony little game or if it's really kind of an action-packed game, it helps teach us empathy for those other people in that. So there are so many benefits to gaming that people don't really realize, and I just love it.
Yeah, in fact, you were talking also about surgeons who play certain kinds of games tend to be better surgeons. There's some great studies about that. The American Psychological Association published a great paper on the benefits of video games beyond the hand-eye coordination and you know, this ability of becoming good problem solvers. So I mean, I don't want to minimize the risks, obviously, of, you know, violent games to kids that are vulnerable. We respect that research, of course, but I do feel that that well-chosen games, if you check the ESRB ratings. I know, Stacy, you were asking, Teacher Stacy, I think you were asking about how to get the ratings. The ESRB does a really, really good job. ESRB is the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, esrb.org, and you can find information on all of the games that either you or even your child would want to play. Do you use?
I agree with you, Monica. The ESRB is a great resource, and it's not a definitive, you know, cut and dry thing. You have to take that information as a parent and go, okay, where does my child fall in this? Is this okay for them? Is this not okay for them? But it really gives us a guideline to go on, especially if it's a game that you have no idea about. You've never heard of it before. So I mentioned Minecraft in the chat today, and some people are like, I have no idea what that is. Look it up and see what it is, what it's about on ESRB, and you'll have an idea, and then check out the game yourself before you let your kids play it. There's nothing wrong with that. Check it out a little bit, see what's happening in it, and decide if it's a game that you're comfortable with your child playing.
Yeah, it's also, sometimes you have a dinner party and you have all your friends around, and you've had the meal and you're kind of just hanging around. Powering up a console game. I know we're talking about mobile here, but powering up the console and playing together as a group can be so much fun. All those dancing games. We've played a lot with like a balancing game. It's hilarious. And so oftentimes you'll find that it's not just for kids, right? You can have a lot of fun with your friends, as also the grown-ups can enjoy. Do you play any console games these days?
We do. So we have Xbox and we have Wii, and the Wii games are the ones that we tend to play most with crowds of people, especially the sports games, which I'm not a sports person generally. We love table tennis on the Wii, and we love, so the balance board, like you're talking about, if you do the hula hoop thing, that is so funny to watch everybody, because it's a virtual hula hoop. You're moving your body and stuff, but there's no hula hoop there. So it's so funny to watch everybody else, and we laugh together with each other about it, and we're moving and we're having fun, and there's some great games, yeah.
Especially like in the winter, right? We want our we want our kids to go out and to play and to enjoy the fresh air, but oftentimes, especially with the winter we've had, this has been pretty brutal here in the Northeast. Video games can be a great way to stay active, but still when you have to be indoors, when you have these like below zero temperatures. So
it's great to set up. So I know a lot of families set up like little kind of tournaments with their kids. I'm not one of the people who think everybody has to win. I think kids need to learn winning and losing. So I like the ideas of kind of, they do a bracket tournament things for the kids, but then you have other activities that are related to the games. You can do a whole Olympic theme, whatever you want. Have crafts, have snacks, have the video games, everything that's related. So you make a whole day of it, and if you plan ahead for these, when you have these big snowstorms or big rainy days that are going to be coming up in the spring, it's a great idea for the kids to kind of get into everything.
Yeah, that's true. Tell me a little bit about the things that we need to be careful about as far as games, things like in-app purchases, for example. How do we manage those and protect our wallets from all those expenditures?
Well, you need to check on your devices and see if they have controls to let you turn off in-app purchases or password protect them so that you have to approve them. This is great if kids have their own devices to turn them off. I know somebody mentioned their child bought $100 worth of Smurf berries in some game when they were 3 on their device, and that, which of course was not a happy moment. But so you have to watch that, keep a check on your bill, and then you really need to also explain to your children that it may seem like play money on their phone or tablet they're playing on, but it really does cost real money. And make sure they ask you if they have a new game and stuff, and show us, say, Mommy, is this real money or is this pretend money in the game, and help them learn, because it's confusing even for adults on a lot of these games. The other thing is you can also, instead of having just a credit card on your account, use a prepaid debit card. So go get a $25, $50 credit card and put that in as your credit card that you have to keep on file, and that way you can't go over that amount. It won't keep charging you after that. So that way, if you have a regular credit card, it'll just keep going and going and going. But a prepaid card, it'll deny after a while.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way too. That's really good advice. Don't put your credit card on your child's device, so you'll never see the end of it. Good games for 5-year-olds. I am going to recommend Common Sense Media. They do have great curated game categories, and so that's a good source. Snowball was asking about those. I have seen, though, a lot of great math games. I know early on we used to talk about baseball math rather. Really fun game. It's baseball, but it's also about math. And so for young kids, if you want to just play around with multiplication tables and things like that, games are a great way to get your child into a subject that he may or she may not feel all that confident in, and then later find out that in fact they're great at languages, they're great at literature, they're great at math, all thanks to games. One of my favorites not too long ago, and I think you've heard me bemoan the demise of this franchise, was the Guitar Hero franchise. Did you ever play that game, Robin?
Of course I played it. Everybody played it. Taylor and Brad, my husband and son, are both guitar players in real life. So, of course, we played Guitar Hero.
It's so great. I used to wait for the new game to arrive, and I would play it before my daughter came home from school so that I could practice practice before she got home.
I love that.
Yeah, oftentimes she would run out of the room complaining that I wasn't letting her play.
You know what, though? So you mentioned that, and so I have this kind of thing with my mom, actually, with Bejeweled Blitz on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we have a little bit of a competition going with us, and I will get on there and play just till I beat her high score, and then I'm out. And then I wait, and if she beats me, I go back on and just play until then. And she's like, well, you have a better computer, or you have a better mouse. And I'm like, no, Mom, that's not it. So, you know, a little friendly competition is fine, as long as your kids understand that, you know, there's got to be a winner and a loser to a game at times, and I think it's a healthy thing for them to learn, actually.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I do have to say that for those of you who have not seen Minecraft, it is so amazing to watch kids create. And this is one of the things you need to think about when you're thinking about screens, right? It's not all about consuming content that somebody else gives your kids or you. With Minecraft, you're actually building something. It's so incredibly creative. And so check it out. Watch over the shoulder of a child that's semi-good at playing Minecraft, and even when they're not so good. And it's absolutely fascinating. The cities they build, I'm sure you've seen them too, right?
Yeah, and it's comparable to open-ended play toys like blocks or Legos or things like that, where there's really there's no end to it. There's no specific way you have to play that game. It's so open-ended, so it's great for imagination, critical skills, you know, thinking skills, problem solving, all those things. It really is a great game, and it's a great game to get the whole family involved with because the kids love it so much. So it's fun for adults too. You can go play too and spend some quality time with kids gaming.
Yeah, and then it's also great to disconnect, right? To get into some of those great games, and I know that sometimes around the house here we'll have competitions about the latest game that we're playing on our devices. But it's really good when your kids, your friends, just see you put it down and say, you know, let's dig up the old Clue, or Monopoly, or even Uno cards. One of our favorites, especially when we go on vacation, is Left, Center, Right. And oh my gosh, you can be playing for hours with Left, Center, Right, and all of these other sort of board games that are not necessarily high tech.
Yes, Tenzi is my family's new favorite kind of board game. It's a bunch of dice, Tenzi, and that's an offline game that we like to play together. And I mentioned in the chat too, sometimes we're spread apart in the country. You've got kids off of college, grandma and grandpa live in another state, everything else. Set up one of those classic board games. Like almost everybody has. You have to excuse the noise. My dog's in the background making all sorts of noise. But set up Monopoly boards at each house, and then have everybody Skype in for certain times, and you play together. So everyone moves along. So when Mom plays and she rolls a 7, everybody moves mom's piece 7 spots. So the game board looks the same everywhere, but you still have that interaction of real-time stuff going on with Skype, with the video chat, and it's really a fun way to connect a long-distance family.
Oh, that's very cool. That's actually a very cool idea. I love that. Find a game that you can all play together, even if you're not in the same country. Great idea. We're so grateful to Verizon Wireless for sponsoring today's video recap and the chat as well, as usual, talking about the mobile lifestyle. I don't want to forget to tell everyone living in Virginia, if you're a current Entelos customer, Entelos Wireless, you know they're leaving the market and they're just passing you on to some other carrier. So you got a great opportunity now to switch over to Verizon. They'll give you a $150 credit, and that's exclusively for Entelos customers in Virginia. So take advantage of that. I wanted to make sure people knew about that because I know we have a great community in Virginia, and you don't want to be just passed on by and tell us, because they're leaving the market to whoever they want, right? You should have the right to choose. And we're going to give away the first of the Motorola Slim 5100 Power Pack, Ayana Pendergrass, and your Twitter ID is AYEL922. Congratulations. And we have one more to come, but I want to ask Robin to just summarize for today. What do you think would be the best or the top takeaways for our great audience to take from about mobile gaming?
Gaming can be very beneficial to you. Pay attention to what your kids are gaming with and screen time. Play with them. Let them explain your games. Protect yourself from in-app purchases and other, erroneous little things like that. And remember, as much as we love the games on our smartphone and tablets, to unplug sometimes.
I didn't hear that last part. Sorry. As much as you love what?
As much as we love the games, remember to unplug sometimes. Just turn it off sometimes and just spend face-to-face time with people.
Yes, I'm going to ask everyone to check out the next link I'm going to post on Twitter as soon as the recap is over. I want you to read a wonderful article posted a few years ago by the Harvard Business Review on a very well-researched paper called The Gamer Disposition, and the benefits that kids get from playing multiplayer games. So it's a great read. It tells you specifically what are some of the skills that we develop when we play multiplayer games, online games, and I think it'll be a great way for you to have a conversation with gamers in your life, whether they're your children, your husbands, maybe your parents, anyone else. And we'll see you actually next week for the VZWBuzz recap. We're going to be live in Boston. We're going to be with Jean, aka Geek Babe, and all of our Boston friends, Tim Snow, Christy Maddie from Quirky Fusion, and just the entire Boston gang. So we're going to show you a great new destination store in Verizon. And Robin, you're going to be there, right?
I am going to be there with bells on. I cannot wait.
Yes, we're going to be in Boston next Friday, so tune in. We're going to have a ton of prizes as we do when we open new stores, and we'll see you right at 3 o'clock. So have a great weekend, everyone, and thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bye.